Alright guys, how's it going and welcome to a different kind of video. Now, firstly I want to apologise that it's my first upload in about 4 or 5 days. It's just that I've been completely stuck for ideas, like FIFA's dead, and as well as that I can't play online, it just makes it even harder. Yeah, I've been a little bit stuck for ideas, but today I thought I would do something I haven't done before. So you will all know that I have done series, well, tried to do series of that have been weekly of me trying to predict the Premier League scores of each weekend. It hasn't really worked out because I just never get them right, so I've kind of given up with it. However, I'm going to be doing them again for this season, and I will make sure I finish them this time. To start it, I've decided I'm going to try and predict the Premier League table at the end of the season. So, in other words, this is my Premier League prediction. So we're going to be starting off at the bottom of the table, and I think that the bottom place team this season is going to be the newly promoted team, Hull City. Now, here's the thing, they were promoted, and I don't quite want to get promotion back for after getting relegated. Thing is though, they've only got 13 senior players fit. I don't know if you already knew this, but they've had a lot of trouble with getting fit players, and it turns out they've only got 13 senior players that are fit and ready to play. And when you consider that they've got to field 11 players next week, like, it doesn't look good for them. And as well as that, their manager Steve Bruce has left, so it just makes it even more stressful that they've got no manager and a very small team with like a week to go until the new season begins. So it is not looking good for them at all. So yeah, I've got a feeling it's going to be a pretty long season for them. You know, last time they were in the Premier League, their team wasn't great. It has changed quite a bit since then. It does look pretty decent, but will it be good enough to survive another season? I'm not sure, so I think they're going to come bottom this season. And in 19th place, we're going to have a new promoted team, which is Burnley. Again, like Hull, they came back to the Premier League a season after getting relegated and done pretty well. I'm pretty sure they came first in the Championship last season, which is very good for them. And it was mainly thanks to their striker Andre Gray, who did very well. I'm not sure how many goals he scored, we'll probably see on the screen right about now, but he did get quite a few goals, and I think he'll be pretty important for them. Thing is that they've got a very small budget, and from what I've seen, they haven't signed that many players, and I'm not too sure they're going to do very well. From what I can see and from what I can tell, even they're probably going to be relying on Andre Gray for their goals. And if he gets injured, then it won't be looking good for them at all. So they will most likely get relegated if Andre Gray doesn't perform. So in 18th position, we're going with Bournemouth. Now the thing is, they did quite well last season to avoid relegation, but I don't think it's going to be the same for this season. They have signed Jordan Ibe and Brad Smith, I think his name is, from Liverpool, both from Liverpool. They are decent signings, I'm not going to lie. But will they be good enough? I'm not sure, because I do think their team is decent. It's just that I don't know. Like, the league is changing every single season. More and more teams are coming in. Like, you know, I think, you know, it's getting harder and more unpredictable every single season. And, you know, I'm not sure they're gonna be fit to survive another season. So I can predict them getting relegated. So in 17th place, just surviving the drop, is Sunderland. Yet again, I think they are going to prove everybody wrong and beat the drop, just like they have done for the past 2 or 3 seasons in a row now. God knows how they've done it for so long. It is honestly incredible how they have so much spirit to survive a drop so often. Obviously, it is pretty bad for them that they have to go through this every single season. But I have got a new manager, of course, in David Moyes. And, you know, I think he could be good for them, but the thing is, as of the 7th of August, the day I'm recording this, he hasn't signed any players yet. He's been linked to re-signing Fellaini, who he managed at Everton, but nothing's really happened on that. Obviously, I'll be happy to see Fellaini go, because he has just been absolutely dog poo for us. So, yeah, as of right now, they haven't signed any players, and if they can't improve their team, then I've got a feeling that it's going to be another struggle for them this season. But I think they will just about stay up. Just about. So in 16th place, we're going with Crystal Palace. They have made some pretty nice signings this season. They've got Steve Mandanda from Marseille. Who's the other one? One of them was Andros Townsend from Newcastle. You know, they have done some pretty good deals in the transfer window this summer so far. And, you know, these are good signings. But the thing is, I'm just not sure about them. Like, in the second half of last season, they were just dreadful. Like, they were losing most games. Like, they were honestly horrible. And if they keep playing, and if they play like that for this first half of the season, or for the whole season even, then they are gonna struggle. Like, I don't think they get relegated, but you never know. So in 15th place, I'm going with West Brom. Now the thing is, they've got a decent team. They've got decent players like Rondon and Saido Berahino up front. In midfield, they've got Chris Brunt and all that. You know, they have got a decent team, but the thing is, they're just not that good. Like, they do lose a lot of games every single season, and obviously Tony Pulis is their manager. They obviously play a bit of rough football every now and then, and you know, that does lead to a few red cards in some matches, which is never very nice to see. But what can you do? I think they will most likely sell Berahino because he doesn't want to stay, and I'm not entirely sure who he's linked with. I'll probably remember later on in the video, but he has been linked to a few Premier League teams, and I'm pretty sure he's valued about 20 million, so that would be good money for them so they can get more players. So yeah, if they sell Berahino and stay consistent, who knows, they could actually do quite well. In 14th place, I'm going with Watford. Now in their first season, they did actually quite well. They actually came 13th, and you know, for a team in their first Premier League season after the Championship, that is actually quite good. The thing is though, for the first half of the season they were good. It was more in the second half of the season that they weren't so good. They've gotten rid of their manager, Flores, and I think he should have stayed because he was a great manager for what he did to make them do so well in their first Premier League season. You know, and their star players from last season, Troy Deeney and Odion Igala, have been linked to moves away from the club. So if they sell those players, it will probably be a struggle for them. But I think they will keep them. I think they will manage to stay up. So yeah, and I'm gonna go for just one place lower than from they were last season. So in 13th place, I'm going with Swansea. Now for the first half of last season, like Watford, they were pretty good, especially their striker, Gomez. Obviously he's now left, and for the second half of last season, they were just not very good at all. And you know, it does seem quite likely that they probably will struggle, but you know, I think they will stay up. But the thing is, they are gonna be really struggling without their star player from last season, Andre Ayew, who has now transferred, well, and who has apparently had a fee agreed with West Ham of £20 million, so it's likely that he'll be leaving. And if he does leave, that'll be a huge blow to Swansea, because he's one of their best players, and if they lose him, then they haven't got many other players to rely on, so it will not be good news if he leaves. Obviously he's not their only good player. They've got Sigurdsson, and they've got Montero as well, their winger, who's actually quite decent. So, you know, they have got a decent team other than Ayew, but he was their main man last season, and I think they are going to struggle without him. So in 12th place, I'm putting Stoke City. Now this team has got a lot of potential. The thing is though, I'm just not sure about them, because without Jack Butland, when he got injured, they really did struggle. Like, they were losing quite a lot of games, they were struggling for goals, and without him, they just fell apart. Obviously, they've got Arnautovic and Bojan, and Shaqiri, of course, can't forget him. He's probably one of their best players. Like, they've got some decent players. They've got a very nice squad with a lot of potential, and they can do well. They've just got to keep their players fit, and they cannot sell Arnautovic or Shaqiri, because they're their best players, and if they get rid of them, they're going to be in trouble. But I think they will keep them, and yeah, this season could be a very decent one for them indeed. 11th place, I'm putting Everton. Now, the thing is, with their team, they can do really well, it's just that they just can't always perform. Like, their main man, Lukaku, he is a good striker and he's got potential, but the thing is, he just needs to be more consistent. And the thing is, he's been linked to a move away from the club, so if he leaves, they could be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, I think Everton can do well this season. They've got a new manager, obviously, in Ronald Koeman, after Roberto Martinez was sacked. So, you know, I think they can do well. It's just a matter of whether or not they can just click under their new manager. So, 10th place, I am putting Middlesbrough, a new promoted team. Now, I know that not all of you are going to be agreeing with this one, but just hear me out, alright? They have made some pretty decent signings. They've signed Victor Valdez, Negredo. They were linked to Nevan Subotic from Dortmund, but didn't get him, unfortunately. You know, they've made some pretty decent signings, and you know, I think they could actually be a surprise this season. I think they'll easily stay up, and I think they could come mid-table. Like, you know, they remind me a lot of Watford from last year, and we had a few quite decent signings, and it worked out for them because they finished in mid-table, well clear of the relegation zone. So yeah, I think Middlesbrough will do the same, but I think I'll do just a little bit better. So yeah, I'm predicting a 10th place finish for Middlesbrough. So in 9th place, I'm going to put Southampton. Now they've lost Sadio Mane and Graziano Pelle this season in the transfer window so far, and they are two very good players, and it's a big loss to them. And they've also lost Ronald Koeman, which is an even bigger loss. So it does look like they'll struggle a little bit, but I still think they'll finish in the top half of their table because, you know, I think they're a good side even without their two main players, and you know, as long as they stay consistent, then I think they'll be alright. I mean, obviously they have got Shane Long up front, and he's a good striker as well. So, you know, they haven't completely lost all their strike force, but obviously Sadio Mane was a great player last season, as was Graziano Pelle. So it is going to be weird without them. It's going to take a while for them to get used to life without them, but I think they'll be just fine. So I'm going to predict a 9th place finish for them. In 8th place, I am putting West Ham. Now they were actually pretty good for most points last season, and that was mainly thanks to their midfielder Dimitri Payet. What a player he is, by the way, unbelievable. And you know, I think they can do pretty well this season, but they need a striker. Like, Andy Carroll is just not good enough. They've signed Feghouli and Toure, and you know, they are good players, but they're not strikers, so they need to get a striker soon because they won't be able to get anywhere near as close to the top 4 as they did last season. And I've got a feeling they probably won't be able to do that in time, so I'm going to predict an 8th place finish for them. They might prove me wrong though, so who knows. 7th place, bit of surprise to some, I am putting Leicester. Now obviously when you're the champions, there's a lot of pressure on you to try and do well again, and you know, I've got a feeling that Leicester just aren't going to be able to do as well. Also they've lost Kante to Chelsea, and Mahrez has been linked with a move to Arsenal, and you know, if they lose Mahrez, they're going to be in a lot of trouble because he was arguably their best player last season, and if they lose him, well, it won't be looking good for them. They've still got Vardy, they've got most of their team from last season, they've also made a few signings as well. So they have got a strong team, but I don't think they're going to be able to recreate the magic that they created last season. No, it's just not going to happen, I don't think. You know, I wouldn't mind 7th, but seeing that it's 6 places lower from last season, it will be disappointing, but let's face it, it is expected. So in 6th position, I am putting Tottenham. Now, I don't think they're going to be doing as well last season. They were literally so close to pipping Leicester to a title, but I just couldn't hold on, and they bottled it. And I think that as well, they even lost 2nd place to Arsenal, by losing 5-1 to Newcastle, a relegated team, on the last day of the season, which must have been absolutely horrible for the players and for the fans as well. Now they've got a decent team, obviously Christian Eriksen's a good player, as is Toby Alderweireld, you've got Lloris and Harry Kane, and obviously they haven't made that many signings. They've got Victor Wanyama from Southampton, and Janssen, their new striker. Don't know much about him, he looks decent. Will he be starting up front with Kane? Well, we'll have to wait and see. To be honest, I would start Kane up front by himself, because I think he's capable of doing a job by himself, but you know, who knows. Pochettino could play 2 up front, there's no knowing, but Either way, I don't think Tottenham are going to do as well this season. I can see them coming 6th place at the most. Now, 5th place, bit of surprise, I'm putting Liverpool. I think they could do really, really well this season. They signed Sadio Mane from Southampton and Jorginho Wijnaldum from Newcastle. You know, they made a few pretty decent signings, and I think they could do quite well this season. I think they'll just miss out on the top 4 though, because obviously they still haven't got that fear factor in them just yet. Obviously their defence isn't very good and needs a lot of work, but you know, I think they can do well this season. They just need to make sure the defence just gets better, as well as that Sturridge, their main striker, needs to stay fit, because when he's fit, as we all know, he scores goals, and when he scores goals, Liverpool do very, very well. I mean, look back to what happened last time when he was fit throughout most of the season and was scoring plenty of goals. They nearly won the league back then, and if he stays fit this time, who knows what could happen. I'm not saying they're going to win the league, I hope they don't, as a Man United fan, but no, I think they could do really, really well. So yeah, don't write them off. So going to the top 4, I am putting Chelsea. Now, last season was definitely an underachievement for them. For the first half, it was dreadful. They were so close to the relegation zone. They were losing most of their games and drawing the ones they didn't lose. It was very disappointing for them. Obviously, they got a new manager midway through the season, and that helped them a lot because they managed to come 10th. Obviously, 10th isn't very good, especially seeing that they are the champions, well, they were the champions. But I think they're going to definitely do better this season. They've got a new manager in Conte. They've got new signings in Batshuayi and Kante from Leicester. And you know what? I think they could do much, much better this season. I think they'll win the league, but you know, who knows? I think they'll do much better, obviously. I think they'll just might get top 4, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm going for a 4th place finish for Chelsea. Now in 3rd place, I am putting Arsenal. The thing about Arsenal is that they've got so much potential, but they just can't do the job. Looking at their team now, they've got a lot of potential to do well. When they do start doing well, they usually end up bottling it, and they just end up coming 3rd or 4th. Obviously last season they came 2nd, which was good for them, but they did get kind of lucky though, so yeah. Also, they have signed Granit Xhaka, but the thing is, that's been their only big signing. Like, they've been linked to Riyad Mahrez, Alexandre Lacazette from Lyon, Julian Draxler from Wolfsburg, but they haven't made approaches for these players. They look set to sign Vardy, but he refused them, and now, like, it isn't looking good for them. The only players they've signed is this guy from Bolton called Rob Holding, and this Japanese guy, I don't know where he came from, can't remember his name, but yeah, it's a bit of a mixed business so far, transfer window, and they've got to sign a big player soon, mainly a striker, because Giroud, he's not the worst striker, but he cannot win the league for them. He needs to be replaced, so I think Lacazette will fit that bill perfectly. It's just a question of whether or not they'll be able to sign him in time, or yeah, but they've got to sign players soon, otherwise they aren't going to get close to winning the league again. So, as long as they get a striker and all their main players stay fit, I think they can easily get top 4. So this means we're now down to our final 2 teams, and they are both the Manchester clubs. So you're probably wondering, who am I picking to win the Premier League this year? Well, I am picking Manchester United to win the league, with City coming 2nd. I'll get into United in a minute, but we're going to get into City firstly. Now, I picked City 2nd because, you know, as good as a team they are, and as great as a manager as Guardiola is, I just don't see them winning the league this year. I mean, they have made some pretty decent signings on transfer window so far. They've signed Nolito from Celta Vigo, Gundogan from Dortmund, Sane from Schalke, Gabriel Jesus from the Brazil League, and Marlos Moreno as well. And they've recently just announced the signing of John Stones for £47.5 million. A more questionable transfer, I reckon. But I think he's still a pretty decent defender, so I think he will do well for them. And, you know, they are a good team. They've got a great side. They are going to have a great season this season, I reckon. But I don't think they're going to outmatch us. I know I'm going to sound biased, but I can't really say it. any other way. So I think City are going to be runners up this year. So I've put my own team, Manchester United, in first place because I think our team hasn't looked this good in what feels like so many years. In goal, we've got one of the best keepers in the world, if not the best in the world, David De Gea. Our defence looks okay, but we've got Chris Smalling and Eric Bailey, who could turn out to be one of the best defenders in the world in the future. Our midfield used to be average, but now we've got Paul Pogba and Mkhitaryan. And our attack with Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Anthony Martial, like, that is just honestly so incredible to think about. And as well as always, we've got Jose Mourinho, an incredible manager who could honestly lead us to great things in the future. And you know, I wasn't that confident about us winning the league this year, but now we've got Pogba, I think our team looks so much better. And you know what? I honestly think we've got a chance of winning the league this year. I really, really do. I'll be disappointed if we don't win it, but if we get at least top 3, I'll be satisfied. So yeah, this has been my predicted Premier League table for the 2016-17 season. I know it's been a bit of a long video, but you know, these kind of videos are meant to go into analysis a bit, so obviously it's going to be a bit long. If you've managed to watch all of it, then I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, if you've got any opinions about what I've said about all the teams and the table, then let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you on a video very soon. Goodbye.